Hey friends, I'm so excited. We're our third week into the month, our third sit and chat Saturday. I'm so excited for this. I have my little video that I'm going to play for you that I play every week to kind of start off the chat because it changes just a little bit because there's always inevitably something that's going to happen, either new things donated or we had to switch schedules or something. So I'm going to play that. And while I do that, I'm going to ask each and every one of you to do me a huge favor and share out this live so we can get more people in here so we can get a bigger conversation. And I'll also give you a minute to go ahead and grab yourself something to drink or a snack, or maybe it's lunchtime. So I'll see you back as soon as this video is done. Let's see. I think we'll go with this music today. And I got a bunch of new people because they're coming from all the other channels. Looks fun. We usually Okay, guys, so it's changed just a little bit each week. I just kind of like having that little intro, so it gives everyone a chance that sometimes it takes a little bit for YouTube to throw that out there that we're actually live and ready to go. Still adjusting here. Hopefully there's no echo or anything. I have a partner in crime here with me trying to mod and make comments and help me bring up comments because it gets a little crazy. So Yes, hello, everyone. I won't probably take the time to say hello to each and every one of you, but I'm so very, very, very grateful that you are taking time out of your Saturday to be here with me today. We're a little bit earlier than we have been in the past couple of weeks, and that's because I do have plans this evening, and so I appreciate you guys jumping on a little early. I'm not sure what time will be next week. It usually depends on the guest. And speaking of guests, today was going to be Boots and Bounty, and she could not, we couldn't get our schedules to mesh because we both had things that kind of came up that we let slide and forgot about. But I have a surprise, guys. I have a surprise guest. Give me thumbs up, surprise guest, if you're ready. Okay, you guys are going to be so excited. It's Michelle. I'm so excited that she was able to join us this week. She said, "Hey, I can mod for you." I said, "Let's do one better. Can you join me?" So
Hey.
she's going to do a little bit of a lot today because she was more prepared for the live than I was, I think. So thank you so much for being here, my friend.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yes. Okay, so I want to go ahead and say just a few more things. Housekeeping, I have mods, and if you get nasty, you will get booted. So don't even try, please. And it's, all the trolls. And then I want to say thank you for anyone who's watching the replay, because I know that not everyone can come at the time that we do the lives, no matter when I would do them, day, time, whatever. So I know there's a lot of you that actually come back to this and watch the replay. And thank you so much for being here. And if you have questions as you are watching this in the replay, go ahead and leave them down below. And then I'm not sure, it looks like everyone currently is from YouTube, or at least the way I'm looking at the screen, but I do also have this streaming out on Facebook and Rumble. Thank you for all of you that are here. Usually I have at least a couple from each of those also. And so thanks, guys, for being here. And I'm excited. I want to let you know you do not actually have to just be on YouTube to win the prizes. So yay. I'm expanding out a little bit this year. Michelle, oh, you're muted. I was like, did I mute you? Okay.
No, I didn't.
I get chitty talk.
No, I thought the fish might make too much noise behind me, so I thought.
Oh, it's probably peaceful. I kind of played a more quiet, peaceful. I was like, everybody's going to relax today, okay? I'm a little tense. If you can't tell, I'm talking really fast. It's like, can't decide if the weather is going to get really bad or not. And I'm just like, oh, I just want spring. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm ready. Okay, we have a question here. I could not find you on other channels. Okay. Are you saying that in their description box that they didn't put the link to my channel? I'm not sure. You're here now. You found me now. So all you have to do is push that subscribe button and push notifications, and you won't miss any more lives or any videos and all that stuff. If there's more to that question, please explain more. Oh, it's raining in Kentucky.
I'm not going to tell you what we've got today.
You couldn't find me on Facebook or Rumble. Okay, just look the Inquisitive Farm Wife. If you go to any one of my videos, if you're looking for me specific, oh, you're subscribed. Okay, thank you. Any one of my YouTube videos, if you go all the way to the bottom, there should be links to Instagram, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, all the things. So if that's what you have. Yes. Okay, you have a question. Perfect time. We will have a Q&A, a live Q&A at the end. And so if I don't get to you today, make sure you ask the question. If you put it in all caps, like you did right there, I'm more likely to find it. But I do have someone who's specifically helping me today to pop up questions. So ask away, because if I do not get to it this week, I can get to it next week. And I think at the end, I might even do like a recap video to make sure and show things that people are wanting to see. So suggestions on videos and all that stuff. I want to know. I want to know what you want to know. Michelle, I'm sorry. Was there anything you wanted to share this morning or this afternoon before we dive in?
No, I just feel bad for all of you and your weather, because we've had spring-like weather. Then we get an atmospheric river that catches us up on water. And now we're going to be in the 60s and possibly in the lower 70s next week. And, you know, I
Just
feel
another
bad for
excuse to.
everybody, but we really need the water. So there's that.
Will there be a meals in
Oh,
jars coming up? We've kind of had that concept with the MRE bags. So I think a couple days ago we had one with MRE, so it's kind of the same idea. Um, I think a lot of people have started storing in bags that way if they don't get to it within 5 years, 3 years, 1 year, whatever they're comfortable with, then they have it so because the food will fade in the sun, and so that really helps with that too. Not today.
I do. I store my soups and things like that in jars, but I put them into the pantry so that they're in a dark, cool place. So,
Yeah.
you know,
So are you wanting kind of like the layered ones that you see people do with dehydrated? Is that kind of what you're looking for? Let me know. I'm just going to keep on going because I know I try to keep this at an hour, and I know I'll get to talking. What I want to do first is we'll start out by the Fun Fact Friday. Share, make I get the right one. There we go. Okay. So here, honey, you can check, make sure that's not important. This was evidently not, I didn't get it posted yesterday. I did it
I
on,
saw it, Angela. I did see it.
did you see it on Facebook maybe though? Or was it on
I don't
YouTube?
go on Facebook. I could
Okay,
swear
it
I
had to
saw
have
it on.
been then. I don't know what happened to it because Mama Baird had shared it out too on Facebook, but I thought,
Huh.
well, maybe she shared my Facebook post, but I thought it was the YouTube. Well, anyway, long story short, I went ahead and posted it here a bit ago too. And I like to just kind of recap that fun fact just to get into it just a little bit more. So the question was, are freeze-dried foods healthy? And there, the comment was, yes, freeze-dried foods can be very healthy because the process, I'll just read it out to you. The process removes the moisture without applying heat. Most of the food's nutrients, vitamins, and minerals remain intact. However, freeze-dried foods can sometimes have added preservatives, salt, or sugar. So it's important to check labels of any additives you're looking for the health option. Okay, so it kind of explains itself, but I do want to say a few things to it. So it's going to depend on what you're freeze drying. If you are freeze drying a Snickers candy bar, it's probably not very healthy for you. Or if you are freeze drying something that has lots of preservatives and additives, it's probably not the healthiest choice. But freeze drying makes it so we can have some of our favorite things that maybe don't have the long shelf life, and then freeze dry them and still be able to enjoy them. If does that make sense, Michelle? Like where I'm going with that? Because sometimes like fresh yogurt or something like that doesn't have those preservatives to stay very long, and they'll go bad on you. But if you freeze dry them, you can still have that good for you food. So I just want to tell everybody, check their labels and whatever you're comfortable with on what your desires of healthy are. And then my other suggestion to you is this is something that is not really talked about a whole bunch, but if you're snacking on a lot of freeze-dried foods, you are not getting that water in there like you were when, like, say you were eating strawberries fresh or pineapple. They have moisture in them. But if you're eating them freeze-dried, you don't think about it. And the next thing you know, you have eaten, a couple servings, and you can actually get a little dehydrated and have problems with, um, working things through. And so that is something that isn't really talked about that probably should be. There we go. Now, did you see there was some questions? Okay, I guess I
Is freeze drying healthier than dehydrating from Joe Swans? I want to say the answer to that one is a definite yes.
yes. And do you want to explain to them why, or?
Sure, because heating your food takes some of the nutrient value. It essentially cooks away some of the nutrients. And as soon as you do that, you're going to, I can't remember what the percentage is. It was 30 or better. And then I believe that when we freeze dry, we preserve 92 to 95%. Is that about
Yep.
roughly right?
Yes. Yep.
My
Yep.
homework, Angela.
I'm so proud of you. Okay, so now that we did that, I want to dive into our recap. So on the first of the week, we had my video. Let's see here. Oh, I forget. I've got to show you all because some of you might be new this week that didn't come last week. In order to find the playlist, you can go to just about anybody's channel will bring you to it, but here we go. On my channel, I have this thing called a playlist, and it looks just like this, and it will have that. Does this show when I do this? I don't know. Really big announcement will be in the front of it, and then it'll have all the videos. So we start out the week, and it happened to be me. I jumped in and put out a video for someone who was unable to make a video. So I jumped in and I dropped that one, and it was about baked cheese snacks. And I really, really, really liked how that turned out.
It looked good.
There are no cheeses left. And didn't it inspire you to try some Parmesan cheese crisp that you
Sure
said
did.
try that?
I haven't done it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put a link in here to that video.
Yes, Michelle is so amazing. She has all the links ready so that if you didn't get to see that, you can go straight to that video. And I try to go over 3 things that I personally got out of each video. And then I want all of you to still make comments on what you got from those videos too. Please. I want to get this. That's what this whole Saturday Sit and Chat's all about, is to talk about the videos and what everyone enjoyed most, or something that, they learned new, or maybe they didn't like. I don't know. But I found out that size does matter. So we found, I knew Michelle, she and I just are too close for this. The thin cheese made a much better crunch. It really, really did. And it still stayed firm, that I think it would make for a really good dip still. And I had so many ideas of different dips that people would use with it. The farmer's all about the salsa. I mean, he's ready for summer. He's wanting me to make fresh salsa. He's ready for it. I'm all about the hummus, but I had like bean dip suggested, and some sort of a yogurt dip they made, and just lots of different dips were suggested to me. And I thought that was cool.
Do you think that it was the fat content in the cheese? I think you may have mentioned that made them less crispy when they were thicker cuts.
Yeah, I don't know for sure that it was the fat content or not. That was one of the points that I did want to make, that people were like, oh, I don't even want to do that because of the fat. Well, this isn't a project I'm wanting to store for 25 years.
Right.
This is, a snack. So yes, there's going to be some fat content in there. Could you use lower fat cheeses like you suggested, the Parmesan crisps? Yeah, I think they're going to last a lot longer.
They won't last long because they're going to be so darn good.
I know.
When I make snacky stuff, I'm not going to save that.
And I love the ideas people gave me to put with the cheese. So like sprinkle on some dill and stuff like that. I thought, oh, that would be really good.
That's a good idea.
But the thicker cheeses, they were still crunchy. They just weren't like it's kind of like tortilla chips. You've got the cantina style that are super thin and really crunchy. And then you've got the thicker, harder nacho chips. That's how I could kind of compare the two. They're both crunchy, but I prefer the cantina. I like the thinner chips better. So that's how I would compare that. I don't know that the fat made a difference. I do think putting the paper towels in there is a really good idea. And I think if I'd had the time, if I would have blotted the paper or the cheeses when they had cooled just a little bit, like if I had to leave for like a couple hours and go do another project. But like if I'd gone in 20 minutes later, I could have probably patted even more of that oil off before I even freeze dried it. And then baking definitely changed the cheese, because I know a lot of people have freeze dried cheese, but they haven't baked it first. And that definitely does make a difference. Okay. Bach cheese upsets my stomach. I suppose it's the additives. It could be. It could be. And I really think I could take some of my homemade cheeses and almost melt them and maybe put a little milk with them and seasonings and spread them out and then cut them. I've thought about doing stuff like that too. I don't know. I don't know. Someone said that's a lot. I'm not sure. Okay. Anyway, let's move on to the next video. So the next one was Bucket List Homestead. You can see second one down. And she was on the 10th, maximize your grocery budget. So she is brand new to freeze dry. Like she has not even owned it. I don't think she's owned it 3 months. She's like you were the first year you came on.
Yes. She said she got hers, I think, in December or something.
I think so.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, very, very new. She was talking about freeze drying leftovers. You know, sometimes we put leftovers in the freezer and that's great, but then they get stuck in the back of the freezer and then they get freezer burned and then it's wasted anyway. And so you no longer have any of those lost freezer burn meals. You can freeze dry them and not have that happen. And that can help with your grocery budget. What was another thing she said was to make a large batch to have extra to plan to freeze dry.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing I took from her was that she left plenty of room for the airflow, because sometimes we can get too excited and put too much on there because, you know, if you have a medium, you can put 10 pounds per tray, I think it is, or 10 pounds total. Maybe it's 10 pounds total. I think that makes more sense. And so we tend to think we have to put that, you know, 2.5 pounds on each tray. Well, sometimes that's not always a good idea. And then she also talked about how you need to use all of your trays. So if she only had 3 of her 5 trays with her chili. So then she found something else to put in there with it. It was a broth, I believe. And she made sure to explain why you would want to do that. So I thought that was really good.
Yeah, that was a good video. I like doing chili because I like a soupier chili and soup. And JJ likes a thicker, like almost everything's like, you know, he wants a spoon to stand up in it.
That's my husband and me.
Golly. That's what I like about freeze-dried soups of any kind and chilies, because we can each, you know, make it exactly the way we want to have it.
I think Sue has a really good point here too, because even as you become like an empty nester, you know, you're used to cooking a certain way, and this could be a great way of not having leftovers over and over and over again. But then you would have a quick, almost instant meal. And so I think that was great, Sue. Thanks for sharing. Then on the 11th, we had Boots and Bounty, and they showed us about sourdough starter, which I was, have you guys ever seen my video where I freeze-dried the Amish friendship starter? Totally 2 different things. There's
sugar. The sugar content.
Yeah, and I was stupid and I fed it. So I put milk in it and I put sugar in it. And milk has a little bit of sugar. It's, you know, it shouldn't have caused the problem, but the sugar, straight sugar, I don't know what I was thinking. So when she did that, I was just like having flashbacks and PTSD, and it all worked out great for her. I was so excited. 3 things. And Michelle, please pop in any minute that you have ideas off videos. I just am in a roll. And
no, just keep on going. I'm trying to make sure I get all the links out there. So I can't do 2 things at once. Trust me.
So she used her tray tops and explained how you can pop them out like ice cubes. And I thought that was genius, especially she crumbled all her stuff together for packaging. But my mind went to soups. There's a serving size of soup. Plop, plop, plop. So when I go to package it, I could put the entire block in a bag and not have to weigh it back out. I don't know. That's where my brain went.
Here's a question. Yeah, there you go.
Is there guidelines to follow about what different types of foods you can freeze dry on the same cycle? So very minimal. You can do any kind of foods together you want. usually they do not cross the flavors and smells when you do them. So that's typically not a concern. Um, things like garlic and onion, I might be a little hesitant like to do. Um,
With
a lot of
candy? Just
onions and
kidding.
then you what?
With candy.
Yeah, with
Garlic.
candy, exactly.
You
Don't
can't
think
do
that
that anyway, but
don't think I'd take the chance on that, but, the biggest thing that I can think of is not necessarily what types of food, it's how you prepare it. So if you have fresh strawberries and you have frozen peaches, you cannot do them together. You have to either freeze your strawberries or thaw your peaches because it all needs to be the same when you go to put it in. Otherwise, the sensors go wacko and it won't all, dry correctly. So it's either all frozen or it's all thawed. Good question.
I agree. I struggle with that myself, even now. What should I put in there? Is it going to work together? And actually, I find when I pre-freeze everything, which I try to do as often as possible, usually we're okay, no matter what I put in there.
Well, I'm terrible about pre-freezing because I never have the freezer space, but if you are in the habit of that, then if you don't fill a tray and you have some stuff already frozen, it's not a big deal to finish out the freeze dryer. So I think that's a great idea. Oh, that's a good one, Deb.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah. You wanna follow any safe guidelines that you would normally do in your kitchen.
I haven't freeze dried any meat yet.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, cooked meat in chili or soup or stew, yes.
Mhm.
But I haven't like specifically done meat yet. I kind of want to do chicken livers just for the dogs for treats.
Oh, my dogs love the beef liver I've done. Oh,
That they do.
they love it. But
And
that's
at the
another thing with
farmer's market,
them.
it's
I
like
need to
$22 a pound or something. It's
yeah.
ridiculous.
I have to, limit how many they get because I worry about them too. Okay, so it's easy. So, the only thing I can think of right off the top of my head that I've done raw, I think was the liver. I think the chicken and everything I think I've done has been cooked, but it is no different. Um, you can even have it slightly frozen so it's easier to cut your meat if it's raw. You just have to make sure it's all slightly frozen. But you just stick it in there and run it at the typical settings. And I like to go ahead and run it a little longer. I always add extra dry time. But yeah, super easy. I cut it in smaller pieces so it's not too thick. Like I had someone say, I want to see what it's like to freeze dry a steak and then thaw it and cook it. Well, unless you like a really thin steak, I mean, it's going to take a while to penetrate all the way to the middle. So that
Have
would
you
always
ever had Mongolian barbecue?
Uh-huh.
I wonder if you shaved the raw meat like they do and freeze dry it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah. Can you imagine putting that in do they call that pho? Pho?
Yeah,
Put it
yeah.
in isn't that what they do is take the raw meat and they put it in the hot boiling water?
No, you cook it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, traditional. It takes hours and hours.
Oh, well,
I
see, I
made
don't
pho
know.
one time. That's probably the last time I'll ever make pho.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, it
This is
literally took 12 or 13 hours to
I
make.
love ramen bowls, but my protein is the egg.
Oh, okay. Natalie's saying no, it's raw. Okay, Natalie. I guess
Okay.
my recipe was wrong.
Okay. Let's
Oh, yeah.
see.
Rena said shaved would work for a Philly. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, what a genius
The
idea. You could even have the onions and peppers if you like them
whole
with
mix.
that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, or fajitas, Rena.
Yes.
Shoot, you guys know I'm stinking hungry.
Dang. You haven't had lunch yet, probably.
I haven't had breakfast yet.
Oh, girl.
I don't eat breakfast.
Yes, Linda, I think that's awesome. And she said something about you could use it right away. So I'm like, do you use it like instant yeast? I should have asked her that when we were talking.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, this was a good one too. Oh, it's not popping up. Um, the gal who put the shelves in her freezer just for the freeze dryer. That is, it's smart because it fits just perfect. And I can't put anything on it because I'm using this for my freeze dryer. That was a good
We have
idea.
a section in ours like that. It's all cordoned off, and then we have like the dog's meat on the right of it, and then we have space for, well, it's not the right amount, but we have space for 6 trays with those plastic lids, the stacking lids on it
Awesome.
to the left. Yeah,
That's awesome.
that is sacred ground in that freezer too.
So Deb freeze-dried ground ham for ham salad. Love it. Love
Great
it.
idea.
And so when you rehydrated it, did you add anything to it, or did you let other things like my grandma always called it pickle relish, your pickle relish, or things like that? Did you take a little juice from that to give the ham flavor as it rehydrated for your salad and the egg, the mayonnaise and things like that? I'm curious.
Oh, freeze-dried boiled eggs. What?
I have never freeze-dried boiled
Yeah.
eggs. I have not. I've only done the scrambled raw.
I am not a fan of that. I got to tell you, JJ did dozens. He did 4 trays of it when we first got Tilly.
Mm-hmm.
And I had some, not a fan. He ended up eating it all for me because and we
Just
gave
couldn't
some
do
to
it.
the dogs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to put cheese and stuff like that with them, or make like a omelet type thing.
Yeah.
But for baking, they're amazing. Or
Oh no, I
making
didn't think
homemade
about
noodles, they're perfect for that. Pasta making, yeah.
that.
That's
Oh,
my favorite use of them.
now
And
do
then
you
I save
rehydrate
my
that? You put the water in and rehydrate it and then
yeah,
use it normal?
and let it sit for a little bit. Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Do we have a
Well,
question?
maybe I'll try it one more time when eggs aren't $10 a dozen.
Yeah, no kidding. That's what I was gonna say. I save my fresh ones for just eating, and then I use my freeze-dried ones in those other applications. My freezer dried several years ago. Any suggestions when I go shopping for a new one? I like the idea of pre-freezing before putting in the freeze dryer. Cannot help you with that. I'm sorry. There are so many models out there and so many things. Personally, I have started leaning towards the stand-up, but I know chest freezers have their
They're
uses
cheaper.
too. But I
I like a
personally like
stand-up
the stand-up.
freezer, and I've seen some smaller models that almost look like apartment-sized refrigerators.
Yeah, we
And
have one
to
of those.
me, if you were just gonna like, if we were just gonna do fruits and vegetables and stuff, and I'm gonna call it a clean freezer, and I would use that for freeze drying, I'd
Mhm.
almost lean towards one because they're like $300 at Costco. And they also now they have those nice packages around them so that if it does have to be in your garage and you get the hot and cold, it's better insulated on the outside. But I've seen some pretty inexpensive ones lately.
Mhm. Okay, let's get back to Boots and Bounty's video. We talked about the tray tops, default settings with the extra dry time. I thought that was really smart because that's something else that I learned from my starter experience. But the sugar made a huge difference. Is it would clump if it wasn't dry enough, and then she packaged it with glass jars and that humongous funnel that was super handy for her. And the texture I thought was neat because she talked about how she could store it in the chunks, but yet my mind went to powdering it first because we're just so used to having that, but it's not actually always necessary. And sometimes that'll add just enough heat when you blend it in your blender or whatever you're using to pulverize that it can actually bring moisture back in. So anyway, I don't think she talked about all that in great detail. Go ahead and pop it up. We have a question, I guess. I don't see it. You put the egg powder with the flour when baking and just add the additional liquid. Yes, maybe. Okay, so like if I were to make, I don't know, a waffle mix or something like that, that I wanted eggs and something like that, and I wanted to have it on the shelf and ready to go, where all I had to do when I'm camping or whatever, or just, a busy morning, I just wanted to be able to make a paint sheet pancake or whatever. I think you could probably get away with it, but I have found when I rehydrate those eggs that they kind of are weird. And so you kind of have to give it time. And I'm afraid that if you put it all in together, the time that it would take for it to rehydrate, I don't know what the flour and stuff would do. Like, would it get gummy? I don't know.
That makes sense.
I don't know how to explain it exactly, but I think that you would have a better product if you rehydrated the eggs separately, personally.
But if you try it, you should let us know for sure.
Natalie, it died. My ginger bug died. I haven't started a new one, but I hope to soon. I'm so glad that you watched the video, though. I am excited to hear that other people want to see, because I had 4 recipes of drinks that I was going to share with you. And, each week I was going to do that. But anyway, sorry. It died. I had to let it go. I'll bring one back. We'll have another one. Let's see. And then on the 12th, we had Linda with Tuliloo Creates. And her video was breakfast time. And she made instant oatmeal. And that was a lot of fun. She explained to us the difference between the 2 different kinds of powdered milks that you can buy. So there is an instant milk, and then there is the dry powdered milk. And I thought it was really great that she explained that, because
I never knew there was a difference.
I know. Can you freeze dry bacon? Would it look like the pre-cooked bacon you could buy for snacking at a fortune? I've only dehydrated bacon at 185. So when you dehydrated your bacon, was it kind of like bacon jerky? That's kind of what I have in my head, what might happen. I don't see why you could not freeze dry bacon. You could probably do it raw or cooked, honestly. Yeah. So now I have a project to try, because the farmer loves bacon. I'm got some pepperoni, the big slices of pepperoni. I was thinking of freeze drying those. It would be a short-term thing for sure, because of all the fat. Definitely. Great question. Somebody says, nope, it's like a pre-made pig. She also used a blender type thing to pulverize for texture with the oatmeal, which I thought was genius, because with dehydrating, I have made little oatmeal kits before, but it was never quite the same. I couldn't figure out the cream in it thing. Well, she says the trick was putting the powdered milk in there. Oh, powdered milk and instant milk. That was the difference that she explained. Instant milk you would use in like your hot cocoa packets and stuff. Well, anyway, I think that when she kind of pulsated the machine with the oatmeal and stuff in it, I think it gives it a totally different texture. I think some of that oatmeal made it a little creamier, personally. And I like that it made different sizes with the fruit too. And then she had some other pieces that she left out separate. So I really like that. And then she talked a little bit about sweeteners. So you could add powdered sweeteners if you didn't want the actual full on sugar in there, or later you could choose to add like maple syrup or honey or whatever.
Yum.
Not pig package. Okay, you dehydrated.
Beth has used dehydrated eggs, dehydrated though, and used some powdered in pancakes without rehydrating the eggs, and they turned out amazing.
Oh,
so
well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
I guess as long as your eggs that you freeze dried, that you powdered them really well, it would be the same thing then.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like on the sourdough starter, how she left kind of some of them in chunks.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess as long as you did that, you'd probably have the same result that you had before. Great question. Yeah. Good comment too. Thank you. Then on the 13th, we had, I didn't even see that comment, plow and pantry. And she had a really long video, and it was very in detail. So I appreciated that. It was on.
Sorry, I had them backwards.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. Plow and pantry, 5 different MREs. So to me, that was kind of like your meals in a jar could be, but I don't think that's exactly what that person was wanting. And I have a video on, it's called Soup in a Sack. And you should be able to go to my freeze dry playlist, not the freeze dry February, but just my in general freeze dry one. And I have a soup in a sack where I took ham, freeze-dried noodles, and all these different things, and I put it in a sack instead of the jar. And maybe that's what you're wanting. What kind of milk do you freeze dry? I want to make my own dried milk. You can use any kind of milk you want. Just remember, the higher fat content, the less time that you can keep it. So if you want the ones that's going to last you the 25 years, you're going to want to use a no-fat milk, a skim milk. Me personally, I have freeze dried a lot of goat's milk because we tend to have extra of that. And so that's just what I freeze dry. I also want to use it to make fun things like bath bombs and, all the things that I like to do, the craziness I do.
I wish I lived close enough to come to your farm stand.
I know.
Oh,
I would love that. We would
I
have
need a whole paycheck, but
we would have fun. Just I'd put you to work and I'd be like, you can have the soap, but you gotta help me make it. Oh, and I've made like lip balm and stuff like that, but you need the powdered stuff for that. And cocoa mix.
Jumped the gun, Andrew. Sorry. I just jumped the gun. I just put Tiny Shed Life up.
Oh, it's okay. We'll get to it. We'll get there in a minute.
Open your eyes, everybody.
It's all right. It's all good. It's all good. I've even freeze dried buttermilk before, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So
you're very inquisitive and
definitely
experimental when you do things in your freeze dryer. I wish I could just borrow a 100th of your willingness to. I am so afraid of something blowing up. And you're just like, I had to clean it out. Gosh darn it. And then you just move on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's going to take me 20 minutes to clean. I can't do it.
Once I learned that it wasn't as bad to clean as I thought, that you can actually clean it all out, I've been a little more brave. But yeah. Will freeze-dried whole milk extend shelf life? Freeze-dried. Oh, you mean after you freeze-dried it, put it in the freezer? I would think so, yes. Because you're not going to have the fat go rancid. Back to plow and pantry then. What I liked from her video was she talked about she did 5 different things in her freeze dryer as a test batch mode. So she could see what she liked and what she didn't like and what she might want to make bigger batches of. I thought that was smart. And then she showed all the trial and error of how she rehydrated it. Like some of it just wasn't working. She didn't know what to do. So she was problem solving and she went to the microwave and that made a totally different result. And then she thought about when she goes to freeze dry it, how she might change things a little bit differently, like separating ingredients. Like maybe she would have the pasta separate from the sauce, etc. So I thought that was really cool. And then she would show you that she packaged in Mylar too. You'll see a lot of people use Mylar for several reasons. The glass is hard to, you have to put it in a cabinet or something to keep the sun away from it. So that's one thing.
And it takes up a lot more space.
It does. Those packets, you can make them flat and you can stack them on shelves. So nice. So yeah, or in a tote.
We just do jars for stuff that we know we're going to use within a pretty short period of time. I've got some in my dining room right now up high that I think I'm going to have to let go because I didn't get them in the pantry in time. And it's like, okay, that's been sitting out for a minute. I don't know if I want to do it. So.
And jars aren't bad, but it does make it heavier if you put them in totes and things like that.
Yes,
So you just see a
definitely.
lot of that.
But it is nice if you want to add some water to it. Like if you fill half of your mason jar with your freeze dried product, then you want to put a little bit of cold water in it and then top it off with hot water, you know, for a meal right then and there. That would work.
That was a good tip about flattening it out. And then here we have another one. Um, reconstitution process due to a partially destabilized fat emulsion. That is awesome information. And the reason I'm reading these out loud is because on some of the other, they may not be able to see it, or some people just listen. This person likes to, let's see, Deb likes to freeze dry leftover cake slices, taste like biscotti, pound cake, pastries, no icing. Awesome. And great tip about the icing, because yes, depending on the fat of the icing, I'm sure that would either crumble or just not even freeze dry. Okay. Fruity compared to standard powder milk with its
Go
use of
back up three more. Joe went into Google and put
okay.
in three different things in a row.
Okay, I see. Okay. I would use
Sonia, may I address this, please?
yeah.
I had my freeze dryer in my dining room, and I love my freeze dryer, but it is very loud. And I don't have a huge house. I have like a 1,300 square foot house. So you heard when something was freeze drying, I did not freeze dry much for the period of time that it was in my dining room because it was constant and it just reverberated throughout the house. And we ended up, thankfully, we have a shop that would be like everybody's garage. And we were able to find a nice little spot in there where it's protected from extreme heat and cold. And we took our tray, not a tray, but our little, what do you call it, Angela? You know, your thingy mabibber that you put it on. And we just rolled it out there. And now we can run it 24/7 and it doesn't impede with you're having company, you have a holiday or
Mhm.
anything like that.
Mhm.
I do not recommend if you have the space. We've
Yeah.
had ours in a guest room, then we put it into the dining room, and in when it was in the guest room, you couldn't be doing anything when you had company or if you wanted a quiet place to go. Didn't work.
Mhm.
And that's a medium harvest right. It's not loud, but it's loud enough.
But with that being said, if that's
Hmm.
the only space that you had,
Oh, I would use it
yeah.
if I had no choice. I would use it. It just took us planning. If we were having a holiday meal or something like that, I just had to make sure that we didn't have it running when we had company.
Hmm. I think someone's goofing off on the snow on down our road. I hope it's not a customer stuck.
Can't hear anything.
Oh, guys, we've got like less than 15 minutes, so I'm gonna try to speed this a little bit. Keep coming with the questions because I do write a list. This is last week's questions we didn't get to, but I want to get through each video for sure before we close out today. So we'll move on to the 14th was Tiny Shed Life, and you've already got that link up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
She did the chicken tortilla soup. The three, yes, Tilly gets her own house. I like that. The three things that I got from them was she showed us the full recipe. Like a lot of people might just say, make it the way you like, and then freeze dry it. But I love that she actually gave us a recipe to go off of
Hmm.
step by step. And because when she made the recipe, she made it special for freeze drying. So that was one of the another thing I took out of it was her bits and pieces, her chicken and all this stuff was uniform. So her pieces of onion and all the different things that she put in there, she tried to kind of keep things that way when she goes to rehydrate, it'll work better. So I
Hmm.
thought that was super awesome. And
That's a good
then
tip. And even if you were canning, right? Even if you were
yeah,
canning, or even if you're freezing it in your freezer for later use, the more uniform everything is, it really is just a good idea anyway.
yeah. Yeah. And then she sealed with the oxygen absorbers and she talked about glass versus mylar. So I thought that was good that she touched on the O2 absorbers because sometimes that's something that we don't really know about, or how to use them, or when to use them. What's the difference between oxygen absorbers and the now I can't think of what the other things are called.
The O2.
The oxygen absorbers and the
Oh, desiccants.
yes, thank you. And
Yeah.
the difference between the two, and how to use them differently. So I thought that was.
You talked about that, I think, in year 1, didn't you?
Yes, we had someone who actually was a guest that talked a lot about it. So if you have more questions on that, you guys should go back. Seriously, the last 2 years, we've had some amazing content and some amazing guests. I had a Friday weekly that first year, and each week I had a guest, and one of them was all about that.
Mm-hmm.
And then today was our last video for this week, and it was put on by Fermented Homestead, and they kind of tag teamed it. Fermenting is Anna's thing, and freeze drying is Robert's thing, and so they did that together, and I thought that was really cool.
He's experimental in the kitchen too.
Definitely, especially with
that man will try anything.
Yes,
I love it. If you guys haven't watched their channel, his freeze drying is crazy, man.
Yeah. We'll pause for. Oh, you know what? I want to go ahead and finish their video, and then I'm going to get back to Jen, but we'll leave this up there so I don't forget to come back to it. I promise I will, Jen. Okay. They did freeze-dried ferments, which it was actually, I think, 2 different ferments. And the 3 things I got for them was, I loved how they had an oops. Okay. So we all have oopses in the kitchen. They bottled it up before it was not quite ready. And so they lost some of the liquid, and to fix it, they decided, let's do something else with it. And I love that. No food waste. I hate food waste. And so that was right up my alley. So one way to fix an oops in the kitchen, like, oh, I can't can this now because I accidentally did this. I accidentally added milk to my, chicken pot pie that I always add cream to, and I forgot I have to add it after canning. Well, no, you can put it in the freeze dryer and you can still have it. And so I love how you can take those oopsies in the kitchen and still not have to get rid of it. I loved how they liked it as a snack. That was another thing. I would have never thought of freeze-dried ferment as a snack. It just wouldn't have ever occurred to me. So, I mean, I'm thinking about it now. I'm like, a carrot could be fun. I like fermented carrots and different things. So that could be fun. They didn't particularly like it rehydrated, what they had, but I think they had cabbage. And so cabbage, I think, is a little maybe different. I don't know. And then they talked about seasoning. So they're actually going to, because you don't really have the full benefit of the fermentation. It's raw. You want to get those active cultures and things. I think it has to be eaten raw. And they freeze dried it on the regular cycle. I think you can freeze dry it at a lower temp, or at least with the harvest right, you can lower the temperature, and then you don't lose all that stuff. But they talked about actually just grinding it and using it as a flavoring on things. So I thought that was super awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And that was our videos for this week. Okay, question from Jen. How do we make the best decision on buying a freeze dryer? What things did you guys wish you knew before you bought one? I feel like I did some research before I did it because I had time. I had to save. And so while I was saving, that's what's so great about Freeze Dry February, while you guys are making all these decisions. You have great input and ideas from so many people. But I think if I had to pinpoint something, it would be what size to choose. Because if you choose bigger than the medium, you will have to have a dedicated circuit, yes, for that. You always want a dedicated outlet. You don't ever want to plug anything else in with it on the same outlet. The sealer usually you can get away with. Oh, we lost Michelle. Oh, she's back. And so the small and the medium take a 110. Anything bigger is going to take a 220. So that is
affordable. You could, and that's actually why because the dollar amount between a large and a medium isn't that ridiculously crazy.
Yeah.
But we were like, if we do, when we get it, it has to go because we're not, loaded with dough. So we're not going to be having, an electrician come out. We don't have a son who's an electrician. We can't have
I
somebody
didn't at the
come out.
time I bought it.
They can't come out, we can't have them come out and wire it. So, just like I was saying, we've had ours in 3 different places. And yes, Cherise Tilly now has a home. She sure does. But we wouldn't have had that ability to move it around and say, this is the right place to put it for our family and for our needs. So I think that's a big thing.
I had serious commitment issues with that, knowing that this would be. Now, see, I'm like you. Now I've got my preservation station. I think it probably would stick there, but I mean, at that time, that's not where I would have probably thought to put it. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
We have another question.
If I use my Vitamix for powdering.
Me too.
Yeah. And Vitamix has like a little tamper that you can buy for like
Mhm.
$10 and $12.
Mhm.
And I find that that's really super helpful.
And I
So,
happen to have the dry one that's made to blend dry things. I got it before I got my Nutrimill so that I could grind flour, and that one really works good. And then I know Sage and Stone Homestead has an actual grinder that she uses.
oh,
So,
that's a good idea.
yeah.
I wonder if you could use the mill attachment. Now I'm going to do this on my own, and I'll report back. But the mill attachment for KitchenAid, like where you could mill your own rice flour or wheat flour, do you think that like you're saying the Nutrimill, do you think that would work?
I have not used that attachment. I never purchased it because my cousin had it and wasn't happy with it, but she was milling grains, so I don't know.
I've done rice
And
in
I
it.
wonder if it would get too hot. Sometimes those KitchenAid things get hot. I'm not sure.
It's true.
I don't know.
That's
Don't know
very
till
true.
you try. If you've already got it, why not try it?
Yeah, it won't hurt.
That's a really good idea, Rena. She said, when choosing the size, get the tray size, cut out papers to that size. That'll give you an idea how much prep you'll need to do. So that gives you prep space idea, but then you could do the same thing with the freeze dryer. Get yourself a box that is approximately the same size of what the freeze dryer would be. Even if you had to, cut boxes together, like cardboard boxes, and make a fake one, and then you could kind of move it around. Where am I going to put this thing before you actually?
It does take a significant amount of space between
Mhm.
your oil filter, which looks to me like one of the water filters, a Brita water filter, uh,
Mhm. It
and
is.
then your sealer. You have to have a place where you're going to keep your trays, your tray liners. I find it difficult. We ended up buying a set of trays just to keep the liners and like the paper liners in one and the other liners in another because I went all over the place trying to find like one big flat Rubbermaid type container that I could keep in one spot. And there is nothing out there, which is a bummer. Oh,
I have a Nutrimill, and they tell you no grains and some beans and seeds. A lot of things can damage your mill. I
oh,
must have a different Nutrimill then, because I have the newest one they sent me, and they actually tell you can do beans. And because I did lentil crackers with it.
those looked really good.
So maybe it depends on what model of Nutrimill that you have. And no grains, I'm confused on that. So you mean like corn to make, because I was thinking that I could make my the one I have, I can do corn to make my own like grits and stuff. So maybe it depends on the model. I don't know. But I don't want to rent it because they're really nice to have. Okay, we are actually at our hour mark here, but I do not want to let this get forgotten. So I'm going to at least read these and give a quick answer if I can, and then remind you all that if you are watching the replay or whether you were here today, I'll pop this up real quick. after we go live, there'll be a place where you can leave comments just like you could on a video. And I want you to leave me comments with questions so that I can get to them hopefully next week or make a video. Last week we talked about people had questions about dehydrating versus freeze drying, specifically shelf life and end product. I like the textures of freeze dried much better than dehydrated on most things, not all things.
You know what I use my dehydrator for now?
What's
Drying
that?
the frosting on cookies.
Oh, that's funny. Me, it's
And
beef
a
jerky.
lot of
I still
cookies.
do beef jerky and fruit roll-ups. That's a good tip, though, on the cookies. I always forget that. Suggestions for first-time freeze dryers. That's a video that could be worked on. Freeze dryer entry. If anyone has any questions on how to enter to win the freeze dryer, all you have to do is at the bottom of each video, there will be a special link to go in, and then you just fill out the form, and it's directly through to Harvest Right so that we don't have any scams or any issues. It's kind of a nice way to do it. But to enter for the other items we're giving away. Oh, that reminds me, I got to do a giveaway before we leave today. So don't leave yet, friends. You watch the videos, you make the comments, you do all the things. Freeze drying butter. You can. It's not going to have a big shelf life. Coffee and tea makes it like instant. Fruit powders versus fruit itself. Does it make a shelf life difference? No, not as long as you're storing it properly. It won't. Things to never freeze dry. Okay, so I was going to make a video. I don't know if it's going to get done or not. They always told you don't do peanut butter, don't do honey, don't do maple syrup, and don't do chocolate. And actually, some people have found a way now. So
I saw a video recently from one of the bigger freeze-dried channels, and he did honey.
yeah, so two guys in a cooler who his video hasn't come out yet this month. He just did honey.
Yep, that's who I saw actually. Yep, okay.
Okay, Beth, some people I've said they've entered more than once. I say give it a try. Typically, Harvest Right only lets you enter one time, but I had talked to them about letting you enter on each video. So I don't know if that got set up correctly or not. I can't say 100% because I'm not obviously going to enter, so I can't test it out because I don't even want my name in there to have that issue. But I say try, and that's all I can say. I'm pretty sure someone told me it says in the rules you can only enter once, but the plan was that when they set up the program, it could be once per video, but I'm not sure. I can't say 100%.
I'm going to
Every
get
day.
the link for the freeze-dried February.
Oh, my husband just looked it up, and I think you can enter every day, someone said. Oh, there we go. Yes, that's what it was supposed to be able to do. But I guess if you're binge watching, then you just got to remember to go back in and enter for that video on a separate day, I guess.
It
Okay.
will
Thank
not
you for
let
the
me
help.
post, Angela. It won't let me post the Harvest Right link.
The special link for the giveaway.
It denied me twice.
Yeah,
So
sometimes.
go to channel. Go to all of our playlists.
Yeah, and some of the channels were having issues too. If they didn't copy it right from the link that I shared with them, they had issues getting it to work right too. Where do we go to enter the freeze dryer on your freeze dried February? Each and every video in their description boxes, show notes, whatever you want to call them, will have that special link. That's where you go, Linda. And then someone, dinner safe candies to freeze dry without exploding. I don't know who asked it, what they meant. If that was you, tell me, please. But quickly, I want you all, we're going to do a little giveaway. #candy. I'm gonna take that off since we've talked about all the videos. Oops. There we go. Oh, it's not showing it on your end. Well, oh, yes, there. My bad. Now it's working. Sorry, guys. Hashtag candy. So what we're going to give away today will be from Boots and Bounty. If you watch the little 3-minute video, you'll see the different things I'm going to be giving out randomly throughout the month and for whatever reason. And I figure you guys come to my lives, you deserve a little giveaway each week. I appreciate you all coming, and I really, really appreciate you asking me questions. It's so important. Oh, Stampin' with Moo, you spelled it wrong. Try again. It doesn't have to be all caps. It doesn't have to be all lowercase, but it has to be Candy. So, so please let me know, because this is an annual thing, and even if we can't get to all the questions and all the videos this year, that's going to give us all great content to work on for next year. So maybe maybe I won't get the maple syrup or something like that done, because I don't know anyone that's done maple syrup, and so maybe I'll work on that this summer and get it going. Sorry, Alfonso, that's a no. I should say yes, I do, but we don't talk very often anymore. So let's see, we have 28 entries. We have 36 people. Hey guys, if you haven't, make sure you give this a thumbs up. I appreciate that. I don't know how many it says I have. I can't tell from this end, but we're over 5 minutes over time. So I'm going to give it about 10 more seconds, and then I'm going to draw anybody else. I'd like to get 30 if anybody else wants to. Michelle, have you entered? Did you enter, Michelle?
No, I didn't.
You can if you want.
I can always give it to someone.
And that's the other thing. The only thing I usually tell participants that they cannot win is the grand prize. If you guys, I always tell the other channels that I have 38 thumbs up. You guys are the bomb diggity. Thank you.
I always go in and hit a thumbs up before the show starts. That way I don't have to.
Yeah, then you did it. Well, sometimes you forget if you're on your phone. You have to go out and then do it and then come back.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Lynn's here. Let's see. We talked about your video today on the grocery budget. Yeah. She's our newbie.
I love freeze-dried chili. I do.
47. Wow, Robin, exciting. All right. Well, guys, I do have things I need to do, and I know you all have things you need to do. So, Michelle, do you think we should go ahead and draw?
Oh, please.
Okay. 31 entries. All right. Cookie! Congratulations. Let's see if I can find my little ticker for you. If you could get with me ASAP with your email, you'll email me at theinquisitivefarmwife@gmail.com. Michelle, or someone, can you put that in there? Because I cannot seem to find my little, oh, there it is under banners, my little ticker. There it is. theinquisitivefarmwife@gmail.com. You've got 48 hours to let me know. And when you do say that, it was off of this live that you won, you'll get your choice of 2 bags of freeze-dried candy from Boots and Bounty Homestead. I wish I had their link right now, but for whatever reason, I did not get that up there. But they have a little Etsy store, and they have all kinds of different things that they do sell, but they're giving away 2 bags of freeze-dried, I believe, freeze-dried candy of your choice. But anyway, I'll get you 2 in touch, but I'll need you to email me. And yeah, that's probably good enough, because the address you 2 can work out together maybe. But anyway, yeah. Okay, well,
It's
guys.
not letting you put any links up, Angela. I think it's because I went in using a different account. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's okay. You're good.
All right.
You are good. And everybody, maybe say thank you so much to Michelle. She's wearing her Imagine shirt. She gave away the first prize, some Imagine goodies, and they've already reached their destination. So that was really, really fun. And I'm so glad that you all are here, and I look forward to seeing you next week. I don't remember who the guest might be. It hasn't worked out yet to have the right guest on the right day, but it's okay. It's all good. But we will see you next Saturday. Can't tell you what time, so make sure you're watching my community tab. Until then, you guys, we'll see ya.
Thanks, Angela.